Hello students, how are you? I hope all of you are doing good. In the midst of this global pandemic, so it has become inevitable that we have to adopt the technological educational system. So since already it has been started, so you have studied already in your first chapter how the political system in India has originated and grown over the period of time after the independence. As all of you know that India is a democratic country, and along with being a democratic system, the framers of the Constitution has adopted the parliamentary system. So under the parliamentary system, we also have adopted the federal structure, which means we have two sets of government, one is at the center, another one at the state. As all of you know that the meaning of the democracy, so of course it is the government of the people, by the people and for the people. And of course I hope that all of you know the democracy is mainly dependent upon the system of elections, as we also call the system as the blood vein of the democracy. Without the elections, the democracy becomes meaningless. That is why in this particular chapter, the second chapter, we are going to study about the elections and party system in India. So why we need to study this particular chapter, elections and the party system in India? As all of us are aware that the frequent as well as the often systematic methods of elections adopted by the Election Commission of India, but still we fail to report the maximum number of votes even after 73 years of independence. Still we are recording only 70–75% of voting even after adopting the democratic system. Of course, there is an aversion towards the system of election amongst the people. So now, here in this chapter, we need to understand what is the meaning of elections and what are these party systems and what are our responsibilities after adopting the democratic system and the various methods of elections. So before starting my concept, before starting this chapter, I would like to focus on a very famous, well-known political thinker, Professor Willoughby's definition on the elections. By then, you will definitely understand what is the importance of the election in a democratic system. So in a popular government of representative type, the electoral branch may be viewed as the foundation upon which the whole structure of the government is erected. So election is considered by Professor Willoughby as the foundation upon which the whole political system is erected. So which shows the importance of the election in a democratic system or in a democratic government. So now let us see what is the objective, learning objective of this particular chapter. The learning objectives of this chapter, the learning objective, why the students need to study the elections and the party system in India. So first and foremost, it makes us to know the meaning as well as the importance of the election, the meaning and the importance of the election. And by this chapter we also can understand what are the different types of elections. You need to make it clear that here you are going to study two different concepts. One is the types of election, another one is the method of election. So here under this particular chapter, along with the meaning as well as importance, you are also going to study the method as well as the types of the elections, various types of the election. And of course, in this particular chapter, you will be knowing how the election commission is organized and how it functions. Okay, the organization of the election commission, one of the unique feature under the Constitution of India. Okay, so we need to study or understand how it has been organized and what are the functions of this election commission. And of course, after getting the independence, the election commission or the democracy has experienced various reforms in the method of election. Of course, it was inevitable to undertake the method of democracy or to continue the method of democracy. We need certain amendments, we need certain reforms. So in this chapter, we are also focusing on what are the various reforms undertaken by the democratic system as well as the election commission or the government. And later on, you are also going to study another part of this. So this particular chapter has been divided into two parts. One is about the elections and another one is about the party system in India. So what are these parties? Whether these parties are inevitable to the elections, like the elections are inevitable to the democracy, and whether these parties are inevitable to the elections. So what are the importances of having the political parties in a democratic system? Okay, so we are going to study about this also in this chapter. And last but one, to understand the functions of the political parties, their nature, okay, how the political parties are getting organized, what are their various natures, and what these political parties are actually doing. Okay, so whether they are coping up with the national interest or whether the national interest and the party interest are one and the same, or whether they are different from each other. And the last one is, of course, nowadays it has become quite familiar about the concept of defection. You may be knowing that, okay, so the defection is taking place in all over the country. So now here we are also going to focus on what actually the defection means and how that can be prevented. Of course, it has to be prevented, and what are the various methods and what is the meaning of disqualification of a member of the legislature. So these are all the objectives of learning objectives of this particular chapter. So I hope all of you have understood. So we are going to study two concepts in this particular chapter. One is the elections and another one is the party system in India. Now let us move on to the first concept, that is the elections. So now here we need to study in depth or in detail the meaning of the elections. So what does this election means? So the meaning of the election. What exactly the election is? So I hope we are all aware that the elections take place once in 5 years and sometimes even before the expiry of the term also. Of course, in a democratic system, the elections are considered as the political festivals or the political fairs. So some of the people, some or you also may have experienced, okay, the festival season of the elections. So why this election has become so important nowadays, and why so much importance is given to the elections in a democracy, and what exactly the election means? Of course, about the meaning of the election. So election is a process. Election is a process, okay, of course I would like to make it in or put it inside the inverted comma because it is a process. Okay, what kind of process it is? So election is a process or the exercise by which process by which the voters choose their representatives. The voters choose their representatives to hold the public office. So, election is the process, or else you can also call it as an exercise. It is an exercise by which or through which the voters, I hope you know who are the voters. Okay, in India, we have adopted a system called Universal Adult Franchise. So, Universal Adult Franchise means all the eligible voters. So, eligibility is not made or it has been given on the basis of the caste, color, gender, whatever it is. So, there is no such discrimination. All the eligible citizens, okay, those who enjoy the civil and political rights. Okay, citizens, those who enjoy the civil and political rights. So, they are known as the voters here. So, all the eligible voters who choose their representatives to hold the public office. Okay, to be very specific, public office means the government. Okay, the voters choose their representatives to hold the public office. That means the government in general, or the government in, to be very specific. Okay, so I hope you have understood what is the meaning of the election. So, it is an exercise by which the voters choose their representatives to hold the public office. So, this is the meaning of the election, which is very important in this particular concept. So, in the examinations many times, okay, the question has been asked, what is the meaning of election? So, that is why you need to answer like this. So, it is the primary activity in forming democratic and representative government. So, in a democratic system, we consider election as the primary activity. So, without this activity, government cannot be formulated. So, that we consider it as the primary activity. So, this is the basic activity or the primary activity through which the government is organized or the government is formed. Elections enables the voters to participate in the political activities. So, it enables the voters to participate in the political activities. Just now I told, okay, who are the citizens? Citizens are those who enjoy the political right. So, it enables those voters to take part in the political activities. Of course, we all know that it is a popular government. India has got the popular government, that means the people's government. So, where do you exactly experience the government is made up by the people? So, that is only through the election. So, that is why we say that only through the procedure of election or the process of election, the people participate in the political activities of the state and they exercise their political rights. Okay, any citizen can take part in the affairs of the voting process. He can contest the election, or he can vote during the elections, he can hold the public office, he can criticize the government. Okay, so these are all the political rights which have been given to the voters. So this represents the meaning of the election. Next, we will move on to the meaning of the term election. So, how the term election came into existence, the origin of the term election. The term election has been derived from the Latin term, eligere. Okay, the origin of the term election has been borrowed from the Latin term elegere. The meaning of elegere is to choose. The meaning of this particular term is to choose or to select. Of course, through the procedure of election, we choose or select our representatives. So that is why the term election has been borrowed from the Latin term elegere, through which the people or the voters choose or select or elect their representatives, or to pick out, okay, to pick out the representatives. So this is the word meaning of the term election, or the literal meaning of the term election. So what is the meaning of voting then? If election means to choose the representatives, then what is the meaning of the election, voting? So voting was used to select earlier in the 17th century. We trace back the origin of the voting or the elections to the 17th century. That is not new to this particular century. So during the 17th century was also the procedure of election prevailed in Greece as well as in Rome to elect the emperors or the Holy Roman popes. Okay, the system of voting prevailed to choose. The system of voting was prevailing even during the 17th century to choose the Roman popes, holy popes, or their emperors. Okay, so that system is known as the voting system, through which we choose our representatives maybe, or our leaders, or to whom we want as to become the leaders. That system is known as the voting system. Of course, here we are also focusing upon the political parties. So they also play a major role. So there won't be any elections without the political parties. So there must be the political parties. So that is why in this chapter we are also focusing upon the party system or the political parties. The government elected by the people is known as the popular government. The government elected by the people is known as the popular government. Okay, here popular does not mean famous, but here popular stands for people. Okay, popular stands for people. Okay, the government which has been selected by the people is known as, or is referred as, the popular government. Okay, now we will focus upon another particular concept under this particular chapter of election, and that is the types of elections. Okay, so just now I told that there is a difference between the types of elections and the methods of elections. So that is why please do remember what are the methods of elections and what are the types of elections. So first of all, we will understand what are the various types of elections. In the democracy in India, in Indian democracy, we have 4 types of elections. Okay, in Indian democracy, we have 4 types of elections. So the main type of election, or the major type of election, that is the general election. Okay, which is very familiar to all of you. One is the general election, another one is the by-election, third one is the midterm election, and the fourth one is the re-election. So these are the 4 types of election. One is the general election, second one is the by-election, third one is the midterm election, and the fourth one is the re-election. So all these four sounds common, but all these four types of elections are different from each other. They are not one and the same, they are different, and these types of elections are held in various situations or in various times. So the first one is the general election. I hope all of you might have heard that, okay, general elections which are conducted once in 5 years, or the general elections are called as the periodical elections. Okay, they are the periodical elections, or they are the general elections which are held once in 5 years. Okay, so these are held once in 5 years, and when they are held, okay, whenever the term of these elections, whenever the expiry of the term of the 5 years of the government, the elections are held periodically, and that election is known as the general election. For example, the election which was held in the year 2019 to the Lok Sabha constituencies, to the various Lok Sabha constituencies, and that election is known as the general election. So this is one of the example. Okay, so we have seen so many elections to the central government or to the whole of India, which is known as the general election. Okay, please do remember, general elections are those which are held once in 5 years or periodically. So the elections which were held in the year 2019 to the Lok Sabha is known as the general election. Okay, then let us move on to the next type of election, that is the midterm election. So now, what is the meaning of midterm election and how it is different from the general election? Okay, so midterm election, as you can understand from the name itself, midterm elections are held before the expiry of the term of 5 years. Why the elections are held before the expiry of the term of 5 years? Because if the government which has been elected or selected by the people fails to remain in its office, or if it loses the confidence of the house during that time, if no opposition party is eligible to continue with the government, then the midterm election becomes inevitable. So that election is known as the midterm election. Okay, so if the government which has been elected in a general election fails to continue in the office, or if it fails to get the confidence of the house during that time, the elections are held, and those elections are known as the midterm elections. Okay, if the government fails to get the confidence of the house, okay, so if it fails to get the confidence in the house or loses its majority before the completion of the term, during that time the elections are held, which are known as the midterm elections. Next, we will move on to the another type of election, that is by-election. So it has become quite common. By-elections have become quite common. Why? Because, okay, if any legislator, maybe the MP or the MLA, okay, due to the vacancy is created. If the vacancy is created, if the vacancy is created to the MP post or to the MLA post, because of what? Because of or due to the death or resignation of the candidate. Due to the death or the resignation of the candidate, and of course quite common. So recently all of us have experienced or seen, okay, in Karnataka almost 15 legislators or 15 MLAs were disqualified by the speaker. and to those positions or to those seats once again the elections were held. Only to those seats which fall vacant, okay, to those vacant seats only the elections were held, and that election is known as the by-election. The elections which are conducted only for the vacant seats is known as the by-election. So, example I have given just now. In Karnataka, recently the by-elections were held to the post of the disqualified members of the State Legislative Assembly. I hope you have understood these three types of election, and the last one is the re-election. So what is the meaning of re-election and when the re-elections are conducted? So this is quite different from these three types of elections. So re-elections are not held or they are not conducted for the whole constituency. The re-elections are conducted only to few seats or only to some seats or some booths only, or they are held only in some booths. So why only in some booths the re-elections are held? So this is because of the fraud activities held in few of the polling booths. So which are known as the booth capturing or rigging. Okay, so elections in those booths gets cancelled, and once again the elections are held only in those polling booths, and that election is known as the re-election. Okay, so bribing of the voters may be, threatening the voters or the candidates, okay, because of that the election gets cancelled in those polling booths, and during that time fresh elections are held once again, okay, that election is known as the re-election. So these are the four types of elections which you need to understand. Okay, I hope all of you understood these three types of elections. Okay, because you also have to study the methods of elections. Please do remember these are the types of elections, and of course we have four types of elections in the Indian democratic system. Okay, now let us move on to the next concept, that is the importance of the elections. So why these elections are so important in the democratic system? So that is why we have to study the importance of the elections. Why do we consider or why we think that elections are more important? As we all know that elections are the foundations of the democracy. Okay, so these are known as the foundations of the democracy. Without the elections, democracy becomes meaningless. Okay, so as I have quoted Professor Willoughby's definition. So election is the foundation upon which the whole democratic system is erected. So the democratic system is constructed on the basis of the elections. So that is why we consider it as very important. So this is the foundation of the democracy, the first importance. Then the second importance is, okay, it provides justice to the people. Elections provide justice to the people without making any discrimination. Of course, we know that one of the objective of the Constitution of India, or under the preamble, the framers of the Constitution have mentioned that, okay, the Constitution is framed in such a way that it has to provide the liberty, equality, fraternity, as well as the justice to the people. So when the justice is provided to the people only if equality is given to the people. So what kind of equality? Of course, it may be the economic equality, social equality, and of course, the political equality. So it is only in a democratic system, anybody and everybody can contest for the election. Okay, it is only in a democracy, anybody or everybody can contest in the election without any discrimination. That is why we have adopted the universal adult franchise. And the third importance is the elections are designed to create the popular government. It upholds the concept of popular government. Just now I told, without the elections, the popular government cannot be brought into force. Okay, so this upholds the idea of popular government. Okay, that is why the elections are very important. And the fourth importance of the election is, so it gives the opportunity to make one's voice heard. The elections gives the opportunity to all the people or each and everyone to get his voice heard in the parliament maybe or in the government. It gives equal opportunity, or it is also said that vox populi, vox Dei. That means voice of the people is the voice of the God. Only in a democratic system, public opinions are heard. They are taken into consideration, isn't it? Okay, so that is why elections make one's voice heard and enhances the self-respect also. We feel very proud only during the elections because we are treated as equals. There is no such superiority or the inferiority. Everybody is considered as equal. So that is why election enhances the self-respect amongst the people. Even if anybody is rich or the poor, so they are considered as similar or equal during the procedures of election. So that is why it enhances self-respect as well as the dignity of the people and importance of the citizen in the framing of the government. Okay, they are taken into confidence. The people's voices are taken into consideration only under the democratic system, only under the procedure of election. And next one is the elections provide the forum for discussion or forum of discussion. You have seen what happens in the parliament, what happens in the state legislature. So we choose our representatives and we give our voice or we give our opinions to our representatives, and we provide or we give our grievances to our leaders or the representatives, and they discuss it on the public platform or in the forum. So that is why it provides the forum of discussion to the people. Okay, the next importance is it imparts political education as well as training. It imparts political education as well as it trains the people. The elections provide or impart political education as well as the training to all the people or to the common public. Of course, during the elections, we get the informations, we get the instances of the previous governments, how the government has to function, how it was performing, and what are the roles and responsibilities of the government. So we will come to know what are the roles and responsibilities of the government as well as being the citizens. So that is why through the public platforms, the common public are made to know what are the importances of the government and the democracy during the election. So that is why we say that it imparts political education to the people. And of course, it provides the training to the people. So you, being the students of this generation, maybe in the future you also may contest in the elections. Of course, you can do that because the qualifications mentioned by the Constitution of India is very simple. Just you need to become the citizen of India, as well as you have to complete the prescribed age limitation, then anybody can contest for the election. By frequently watching or observing the day-to-day activities in the politics, it provides the training to the future voters as well as to the future leaders. So that is why elections are considered as very important affair of the government. Next, it protects the interests of the minorities. The minority interests are protected. How the minority interests are protected? In India, the reservation is given under the legislature. At the central level, the reservations are given to the SCs, STs as well as to the minorities. By that, so it gives equal representation to all the sections of the societies. So even the minorities can also feel privileged because of the system which has been adopted by the Indian Constitution or by the Indian government. So it also reinforces stability and legitimacy of political community by bringing together and facilitates socio-political integration. The elections brings stability and socio-political integration. So all the political parties know that if they give support to the existing government, maybe in the future the other opposition party or whichever party comes to the power, they may get the support from other political parties. So like that, it provides stability to the administration as well as to the government also. And of course, it also brings about socio-political integration. It brings about socio-political integration and makes the representatives accountable to their office. Accountability of the leaders. Accountability of the leaders. So they are responsible towards their positions. To their positions. So once they complete their 5 years of term, once again they approach the common public. During that time, they have to be answerable to all their commissions and omissions. So that is why because of the elections, there is an accountability to their offices or to the offices of the leaders. So they are held responsible for all their activities. So they should be very careful whenever they are continuing in their positions or their leadership. And the last importance is it helps for the continuation of democratic government and enables peaceful transformation of power. It strengthens the democracy. It strengthens the democracy. And of course, finally, the peaceful transformation of power, peaceful transformation of power is possible only in the system of election. So other than the elections, you might have seen what happens in the dictatorial system or the single party systems. So the power is not obtained through the peaceful transformation. So there exists the revolutions or the leaders come to the power, okay, through the revolutions or through the conflicts. But that is possible only under the democratic system, wherever they follow the procedure of election, the transformation of power will be in a peaceful manner. So that is why elections are very important in a democratic system. I hope all of you have understood what are the various importances of the elections in a democratic system. Of course, it is the foundation of the democracy. It provides justice to the people, and it upholds the system called popular government, and one's voice is heard because of the elections, and forum of discussion or provides a public platform to discuss the problems or the grievances of the public. It imparts the political education, not just the education, but it imparts the political education, and it provides protects the interests of the minorities also, and it brings about stability to the government. Socio-political integration is also possible, and it gives accountability to the leaders, or it the leaders are accountable to the public, and strengthens democracy, and the peaceful transformation of power is possible because of the method of election or because of the system of elections. I hope all of you have understood what is the importance of the election. Okay, now let us move on to the next concept under the elections, and that is the methods of elections. So just now we have studied about the types of elections, and here you are going to study about the two methods of elections. In a democratic system, we come across two types or two methods of elections. So which are these two methods of elections? One is the direct election, and another one is indirect election. By the name itself, you can understand what is the meaning of direct election and the indirect election. So what is the meaning of direct election, and to which this system of election is held? The direct election means or under the system of direct election, people directly choose their representatives. People directly choose their representatives through the secret ballot, okay, through secret ballot. Of course, this is very much important. Under the system of election, they choose their representatives through the secret ballot. So your vote should be kept very secretly. So you need not show to whom you have voted. Okay, so that is known as secret ballot. So people choose their representatives directly without any intermediaries. Okay, of course, this is very important. They choose their representatives through the secret ballot without any intermediaries. Without any intermediaries. So this is known as the direct election. I hope you have understood. Direct election means people directly choose, okay, people directly choose their representatives through the procedure called secret ballot method without any intermediaries or without any mediators. So this system is known as the direct election. So directly people themselves go to the polling booth, they elect whomever they want, whomever find, okay, eligible or able leaders, to them they can directly vote. So this system is known as the direct election. Okay, to give the example for the direct election, of course you know the elections to Lok Sabha, the elections to Vidhana Sabha and the elections of the local governments. Okay, in the states you vote for Vidhana Sabha and to some of the local bodies. Maybe your Gram Panchayat members or the Taluk Panchayat members, you directly go to the polling station and you select or elect whomever you wish to become the leader. Isn't it? Okay, that method is known as the direct method. I hope you have understood. Okay, so elections to the local bodies also are held on this method or on this basis. And the second method of election is, or before that, okay, let us see what are the merits or demerits of this particular system of election. Of course, you will get a question, what is the difference between the direct election and the indirect election? By the features or merits and demerits itself, you can make out what are the differences also. So the differences between the direct election and the indirect elections are like this. Okay, so what are the features of direct elections? Okay, so direct elections are considered as more democratic. Why? Because democracy becomes meaningful, or the democracy can be exactly experienced only when or only if you are allowed to choose your representatives directly. So that is why we consider the direct method of election is more democratic. Okay, then the second importance or second feature is, so this is more responsive also. The direct election method is more responsive because you can directly approach your leaders and hence they are accountable to their position. Okay, so they act more responsive, and of course you also have the responsibility of questioning your representatives. So that is why it is considered as the direct election or direct method of election is more responsive. Then it creates political awareness among the public. Direct election creates political awareness among the public because since the people are directly participating in the affairs of the election, so they are made to know what all the activities are going in and around them. During the elections, during the canvassing or during the campaignings or through the public platforms, the political leaders educate the voters, okay, how the government has to perform. What are the role and responsibilities of the government and what are the roles and responsibilities of the common public. So that is why we consider the method of direct election that creates political awareness among the people. Then the fourth importance or fourth merit of the direct election is it allows the common public to select the eligible candidates. They can select or elect the eligible candidates whomever they find feasible or eligible. Okay, so they select the eligible candidates to the office. And next is there is a good public relationship. So the relationship between the leaders and the voters, because after the completion of the term of 5 years or whatever so is mentioned by the constitution, okay, once again they need to approach the people or the voters. So that is why they keep a cordial relationship between the public as well as the representatives. So there is a good relationship between the representatives and the common public, and this is possible only under the direct method of election. So another method of election is there, and that is known as the indirect election. So what is the meaning of indirect election? Indirect election means, so the name itself says or suggests that here the people are not directly participating in the affairs of the government. So what is the meaning of indirect participation of the voters then? Here whatever I told here without any intermediaries, then of course under the indirect method of election, people of course participate in the affairs of the government or the election, but not directly but indirectly. They participate indirectly. So people choose their representatives maybe through the electoral college or through the intermediaries. The system of election which is conducted through the electoral college or through the intermediaries is known as the indirect election. So here people do not directly participate in the affairs of the government or affairs of the election. They participate through the electoral college or through their intermediaries, and this system is known as the indirect method of election. Of course, this indirect method of election also has got certain merits as well as demerits. But before that, I need to give the example for this indirect method of election. Whom we choose through the method of indirect election? Of course, first and foremost is the President of India, then the Vice President of India, then the members of Rajya Sabha, then the members of state legislative assemblies. So these are all the examples for the indirect method of election. Whom do we choose through the indirect method? President, Vice President, members of Rajya Sabha and the members of state legislative assemblies. Okay, so now let us see what are the features or merits and demerits of the indirect method of election. Of course, this may not be the democratic method. So since this is more democratic, of course it should be less democratic. Why it is less democratic? Because here people are not directly participating in the affairs of the election. So the people are of course participating, but they are participating through their representatives or the intermediaries or through the electoral college. So that is why we consider it as less democratic. It is not more democratic system. Then of course one of the merit of this indirect election is the selection of the eligible candidates. Since the members, those who are taking part in the indirect method of election, so they are actually involved themselves in the procedure of the government or affairs of the government, and they are quite familiar with the representatives, and they know that who is the best candidate to become either the president, vice president or whoever the members of these assemblies or the legislatures. So that is why we say that, okay, so selection of the candidates or eligible candidates is possible under the indirect method of election. Then the second one is, this prevents unhealthy competitions of campaigning. Since the voters are not directly participating, they need not approach the voters or the common public. Okay, so under the direct method of elections, you might have seen that the people are bribed to get their votes. So there is more corruption under the direct method of elections, but it is less corruptive, or it prevents the unhealthy campaigning or bribing the voters or corrupting the voters. So this is not found usually under the indirect method of election. So that is one of the advantage of indirect method. And another feature of the indirect method of election is, okay, the peaceful voting is possible. Okay, peaceful voting is possible under the indirect method of election. Since the people are not directly involved in the affairs of the government, okay, the peaceful voting is possible here under the indirect method of elections. So no illegal activities take place, no bribing or corruption is possible under the indirect method, or it is less possible. So that is why we say the peaceful method of voting is possible here. Then little scope for the emotions. Here under the direct method of election, so emotion plays a major role, or we also consider it as a trump card. You might have seen sometimes, isn't it, okay? If any legislator being in the power, okay, dies, or due to his death, because of the death, if the seat falls vacant during that time, his family members are made to contest for the elections. Okay? The political parties think that through the emotional trump card, they can easily get the votes from the people. And sometimes because of the regional issues also, maybe the language or the region, so these emotional trump cards are also playing a major role under the direct election, but it is not found under the indirect method of election. So little scope for the emotions of the people. And last feature of the indirect method of election is it is suitable for the developing nation. So the indirect method is suitable for the developing nation. Why? Because so to conduct the election or to hold the election, crores of rupees is spent from the national exchequer. So of course the common public are fed up by the frequent elections. Okay, so we have seen the midterm elections, re-elections, so on and so forth. So the government has to spend the money from the national exchequer for the procedure of elections or the voting. If it is an indirect method of election, there is little scope for the people to take part in the method of election. So that is why it is known as less expensive. The indirect method is known as less expensive. Okay, so that is why we consider the indirect method of election is suitable for the developing countries. Okay, so till here I have explained you the meaning of the elections, then the importance of the election, origin and development of the elections, then the types of elections and the two methods of elections. So in the next part, we are focusing upon the election commission. Thank you so much.